you're comfortable with. Welcome to our town hall. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We operate these town halls from the beginning of September through to the very end of May, so just throughout the academic school year. So if you're joining us back from our summer break, then we're happy you're back. And if you're joining us for the first time, then welcome. In today's town hall, we're going to be talking about setting your admissions goal, reaching them, surpassing those goals, which hopefully will be helpful to those who joined today. Just a little overview of what we're going to be discussing. We're talking today about getting to know your prospective parent audience, setting admission goals that are realistic, both short-term and long-term, as well as developing a marketing plan, focusing on your community, both your school community and wider local community, how you can measure success, and we'll have some time as well for Q&A and discussion. Before we get started with the presentation, I just wanted to do a little short welcome. I'm Camilla Campuzano, the Community Manager of Montessori Thrive and Nido Marketing. And we're also joined by Camille Campbell, who is our Executive Director here at Nido Marketing. We've been hosting these town halls since 2020 as a free space for Montessori leaders to come together and discuss different leadership topics. These Zoom meetings happen at the same time every week, so every Thursday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern. They're always free to join and anyone's welcome. We also post the recordings on our Nido Marketing YouTube channel, so if you ever missed one or want to go back to one to take notes, you can visit our YouTube channel. These are usually posted the afternoon after it happens, so later this afternoon or the Friday morning after. So you'll be able to find those on our channel. Before we get started, I also wanted to just take this opportunity to get to know one another. You can use the chat. I'd love to hear where you're joining us from, why you joined today's meeting. So you can just share a little bit about your position at what Montessori school you're at, and yeah, why you joined today's town hall.
We're also live on Facebook. So if you ever, if it's difficult to join via Zoom here, you can catch us on Facebook in the Montessori Thrive group.
Yeah, and if you're joining us from there, feel free to ask questions there as well. It's here, Shannon, joining us from Oak Haven Montessori. Welcome, Carol from Think, Explore, Create. Welcome, Carol. Vicky from Amelia Island Montessori School in Florida. Your first town hall. We're happy to have you here at your first town hall. Awesome. Jenny from Sandwich Montessori. I'm Christy from Full Circle Montessori. Wow, so many great new faces and familiar ones who joined our town halls in the past. We're happy to have you here, and hopefully you find today's information helpful. These are also very collaborative, so if you have any questions throughout the meeting, feel free to unmute yourself, or you can also drop any comments or questions in the chat. We'll pause as the meeting goes along in case there's anything we want to touch on or revisit, or if you have any questions. So feel free to drop any comments in the chat. Awesome.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Oh, Elizabeth back. We've missed you. Elizabeth has been with us from the start.
Here. I was just gonna say, I think everybody on the call are our current clients, so it's just wonderful. It's so nice to see everybody. It's kind of nice to all get together in one forum too. So great.
So before we get started, I just want to point out just the real importance of having good enrollment and having, a wait list, full programs at your school. And really, this is why we want to focus so much attention and energy on growing our admissions. And ultimately, when we have full enrollment at our schools, it gives us financial stability. It improves the quality of education because you're able to provide the best staff, the best materials, the best programs when you have full enrollment. You can also have a more diverse learning community. You can expand your educational offerings. You can build programs. If your school is wildly successful and parents want to expand into a different program, It all comes down to having those high enrollment rates and a successful rate of admissions. It also just creates more stability and long-term viability in your school community. It can increase community engagement when you have classrooms that are full. And also it just gives your school more advocacy and influence when you have successful programs that are full and parents are wanting to sign up and register their child to your school programs. So how can we get there? How can we get that high enrollment? Well, the first step really comes down to understanding your school's unique identity. Every Montessori school is going to be unique. It could be based off of your location. Every community is unique, what offerings your school has, what programs they have. So it's really important before you even start getting into the nitty-gritty of marketing your school, of trying to reach out to the new prospective parents, to really sit down and understand your brand. Most of the schools here might already have a really well-established brand. It's important to have a very strong mission and vision statement for your school, one that resonates with your community and is going to really reach and touch the right mission-appropriate families as well. You also want to just sit down and identify what your unique selling points are. Maybe your school has an all-day program for working parents that's really great. Maybe your school offers, a full range of programs from toddler all the way up to upper elementary or even adolescent. So all of these things can really help to create your school identity. I know some of our clients think one of them is just on a beautiful natural site, like in a forest, and they have access to that nature. That's a huge, unique selling point. So these are things that are going to set your school apart from the rest and are going to also speak to the right target audience. So once you have a real insight as to who you are, you can then start branching out into your marketing plan. Once you've identified your own unique selling points, you can start analyzing your target audience or your prospective families. And really what you want to do is, we call it creating an avatar or a parent persona. And you can ask yourself all sorts of questions, both demographic or psychographic, about your ideal prospective parent. What do they do for a living? What age groups are they? What are their generational values? All of these things come into play with how you're going to speak to them. Also, what platforms are they using? Recently, we've seen a shift from Facebook users to maybe a little bit more Instagram users as parents are, aging into the millennial group a little bit more. You can conduct surveys of your current families, how they found out about your school, what platforms they're using, what kind of language they respond to. All of this will help you get a little bit more insight as to how you can reach future prospective parents. For instance, you can just look at what blogs are performing really well on your website or what's popular, and that'll give you some insight as to what people are valuing in terms of parenting, in terms of what they're looking for in a school. So it's important to just kind of figure out your target audience a little bit more. This will help you create the right content. This will help you reach them. This will help you communicate with them. Any questions so far? I feel like most schools have a really good grasp on their target audience. We're talking to them every day. We're constantly communicating with our parent community. So usually that's the best way to just tell. We're good observers. Skip, yep. All right, so next step is setting your goals. So once you have an understanding of your school's identity and the target audience that you're trying to reach, you can start setting realistic short-term goals and long-term goals for your enrollment. Now, some schools who joined the call may already have a wait list, which is great, but to those who don't, I know that's a big goal. So when it comes to setting goals, you want to first look at something that's achievable within the next year or two, and this will be your short-term goal in terms of enrollment. For instance, if you just launched a new program, what is reasonable to achieve in that first year or two? Some factors you may want to consider when it comes to setting your enrollment goals for the first year or two: local demand, marketing budget efforts, so how much you can set aside realistically, both time-wise and financially, for marketing. and your school size and capacity, of course. What can you actually achieve in terms of enrollment by filling up your programs? You can measure this progress through data such as keeping track of leads, what's coming through on your website, how many calls are you getting, how many tours are being scheduled, and what's your actual enrollment number at. Do you have any conversions on your website? Are people interacting with you on these different platforms, such as social media or through your website directly? This will give you some insights as to what places need improvements, what places are working successfully and actually leading people to come to your school and enroll. When it comes to setting more long-term enrollment goals, this is, of course, we're looking at 3 to 5 years or even further to achieve. Things to consider here, facility or program expansion, staffing. You really want to be investing in great staff if possible and retaining staff, as well as program development. So just seeing where you can improve your program, seeing how you can expand your program. Also, not only just looking at the students, but the families. How can you support them? How can you encourage them to not only enroll at your school, but stay in your school programs for longer? So these goals will take a little bit more investing time-wise and maybe even financially, but it'll pay off in the long run. So again, you can focus on those 1 to 2 year goals, which is getting people through the door, seeing where the leads are coming in. How is your marketing performing? And then those long-term goals are going to be, is this enrollment rate stable? Is it growing year on year? Are people happy with our programs? Are they staying in our programs long? Are our staff happy? Is our community actually growing and staying consistently where it needs to be? Any questions? I'd love to hear some goals that you've set for your school, whether it's this year or maybe it was a couple years ago and you've already achieved them. Have any of you started a new program that you've been able to successfully fill or are looking to fill? Is a goal of yours starting a wait list? Maybe increasing this number of tours? That's a great place to start. Feel free to share. You can share in the comments. I know a couple of schools who started programs and were able to fill them very quickly. So that's also a great, and usually they fill them really quickly with word of mouth from their current community. So it's great. Let's see here. We're expanding, opened a 3rd primary classroom last year and looking to expand elementary in the next 2 years. That's awesome. I'd like to get full enrollment this year. We just launched our primary program this fall. Great. So there's a couple of new programs. And that's great because a lot of schools will start a program based off of their already growing demand within their community. And that just shows that your programs are being successful and parents are happy. Great. We see here, we're trying to figure out how to keep TK and kinders. We're open infant toddler for 48 and are expanding our building next year. Great. We just relaunched parent classes and are hoping to increase enrollment here too. Oh, that's great. Hoping to continue and increase our retention rate. Yep. And retention is really going to fall in that long-term plan. Because again, you want those primary students to maybe then enroll in the elementary programs and so on. We want to increase our numbers in our elementary program, and we want to increase enrollment and retention. Okay, great. So ultimately, the best way you're going to improve your enrollment and your retention rates is developing a great marketing plan. And marketing doesn't always come across as salesy. It can just look like good communication and providing value to your target audience. I think in the Montessori space, we run away from the word marketing because we don't really come across as a salesy group. That's not our vibe. We are very much here to help families and provide them with value. And that's what great Montessori marketing looks like. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can devise a plan that comes across as authentic, that'll help you build trust both with prospective families and current families, and will ultimately help you grow your enrollment. So really, you can utilize online channels and offline channels to market nowadays, just with the state of how things are. Everyone has access to a smartphone or a computer. Realistically, most of your marketing efforts will be digital, will be online, but you can definitely do a lot in your community to grow your school and to keep retention rates high. So let's dive into that. So first and foremost, a huge focus when it comes to devising your Montessori marketing plan is going to be focusing on your online presence and your website optimization. Really, nowadays, your website is the entire foundation of your marketing strategy. Why? This is just how parents are being introduced to your school. Oftentimes, they're just going into Google, they're looking at what's available in their area, and they're just going to review different websites from different schools and childcare programs. So you want to make sure that you're giving them a good impression. Also, if you're running ads online, if you have a social platform, the goal is to draw people back to your website. The reason why is this is where they can learn more about your programs, they can read blogs, they can schedule a tour, hopefully. So if your website is great, it's going to give that parent a first impression that it's going to be lasting. Things that you want to make sure your website has, you want to make sure your website is friendly across devices. This means it's easy to navigate your website on a smartphone. Lots of parents are doing this. They're sitting in the park while their kids are playing and they're just browsing their phone, or they're a busy working parent and they're on the run all the time. So your website should be easy to access on a smartphone and on a computer. It should have automations. Nowadays, people should be able to take action on your website. If the only way that parents can contact you on your website is by looking up a phone number, then having to manually call you, it's just not good enough anymore. You should have things like an inquiry form, lead generators that provide instant value, things like white papers. Parents should be able to schedule a tour automatically on your website. It just creates so much more ease of access to these busy parents. And honestly, it's kind of expected for them to be able to engage with any website nowadays. Should also have content and information. Nobody wants to go to a website and not be able to explore and learn a little bit more about what you have to offer. Plus, not every parent who's visiting your website may know everything about Montessori. So if they're learning what Montessori is from you and learning the value of Montessori, it's valuable. You're becoming a thought leader and a trustworthy source to that parent. And also, your website should be beautifully designed and impressive. Nobody wants to see an outdated website. It looks bad and unprofessional nowadays. I'm going to do a quick little tour of our Nido site. This is our sample school site. You can visit this at any time for inspiration. It's nido.site. I know those schools who are, some of them are Nido clients, and I'm sure you have websites with us, but for those of you who don't, this is just a simple outline of how we do our website. So we have our mission front and center. It's very easy for a parent to schedule a tour. It should always be simple. And just some information about, why Montessori, our program overview, testimonials, all of these things are important to have on a school website. You should be creating an experience for that parent. Here we have a lead generator, so you can collect those leads. You can collect that contact information to follow up with the parent. All of these things are valuable to have on your website. There's loads of content. So a parent who's visiting our website for the first time, they can learn about Montessori directly from us by clicking on our blog, where they're going to explore different things about Montessori, whether it's the benefits of multi-age grouping. They can also get some insights onto Montessori parenting. So all of these things are valuable to have on your website. And I hope that, you really understand the value of having a great website, because this is the foundation to your marketing plan. If you have to start anywhere, this is your place to start, is having a great website. Any questions so far? Camille here designed most of these website templates. So she's our web designer and she really does a great job. All right, investing in digital advertising. This is an option as well. I recommend first starting off with a great website, because there's really no point in investing money and running Google ads if you're taking them to a website that isn't strong and isn't going to convince them to schedule a tour or take the next step. So first start with your website, and then if you want to invest in digital ads, that's a great way to draw a bigger audience to your website. These are things like pay-per-click ads. You might have heard Google ads. That's basically how it works. Things like Facebook, Meta ads. So if you see ads on Instagram or Facebook, that's Facebook Meta ads. Things like remarketing. This is very popular nowadays. You might have visited a website and then you go to another website and you see the ad for the website that you just visited a day or two ago. This is effective, especially in the Montessori school space. So we recommend these strategies. But again, you need to have that strong website first, or else you're just taking them back to a website that they can't really do much on. Just a little note as well, running campaigns is a process that will require tracking and testing, especially things like Google Ads. It's very easy to invest a lot of money on Google Ads and not get a lot back. So you want to make sure you're doing your research or working with an ad management company or somebody who can help you run ads that are actually going to be reaching the right target audience and are going to be getting you conversions. Otherwise, you're not really getting a good return on your investment. You want to make sure it correlates with your enrollment actually growing and you getting those classroom spots filled. Any questions on investing in digital advertising? Is anyone having a good experience with this or?
Yeah, I was just going to also just add to that, if you're really looking to kind of turn on the faucet on leads, Google ads are really the way to go, because if you think about the admissions funnel, Google ads are for people who are actively searching for you, right? Or something like your school. So they're further along in that decision-making process. If you're more looking to raise awareness of your school, excuse me, in your community, maybe advertise an open house, those types of things, then Facebook/Instagram work better for those situations. Those are more, they're not as expensive to run, but they're not, and they're just as targeted, but they're not catching people when they're really in that mode of searching for you. So they both have their place and they're both effective for what they do. But if you're, specifically looking for getting those people that, if someone's searching on Montessori school near me, your ad comes up at the top, chances are really high that they're going to click on your ad because it's responding to the query that they just entered. So just wanted to kind of point that out. Again, when you're kind of going back to your goals, if you're maybe just looking to increase your wait list or increase the community awareness of your school, then probably social ads are the way to go. If you're struggling to fill classrooms, then Google ads are the better way to go.
And that leads us to social media marketing, which is also a great option to grow your community and effective, because realistically, most parents nowadays are, they're well acquainted with technology and social platforms. So they're actively on these social platforms. It's a great place to reach them. And also you can have a social media presence without having paid ads. You can just post regularly on Instagram and Facebook, and this can be a great way to reach new parents. But again, running those paid ads is great to reach a new audience. And luckily, Facebook and Meta have made this pretty easy to do. Again, it will require some checking in if you're paying for campaigns. You don't just want to invest blindly and not check up to see if you're actually getting clicks or activity or reaching an audience that's then leading to enrollment. But there's lots of ways that you can engage on social media marketing. Also, you can share blogs, you can share all kinds of day-to-day images and posts about life at your school. And you can invite families to explore what your community is really all about. It's really important to have engaging content on social media. You want to make sure your pictures are high quality. You're posting videos or graphics that are, not blurry and actually accurate description of what your school is. You don't want to post anything that, maybe isn't Montessori appropriate or doesn't reflect your school brand. It's definitely important to have engaging content that looks professional. We find that blogs posted on social media are not being viewed or interacted with. That doesn't entirely, it depends on what platform. Certainly on Instagram, they won't be, because realistically on Instagram, people are looking more at imagery and video content. And also it's hard to share links on Instagram. You can only do it on your story. So that makes it a little bit trickier for you to be able to link people to your blogs. Facebook is a little bit more effective for actually reposting blog articles, and sharing those links in your newsletters, your emails that go out to parents are probably going to be a little bit more inclined to actually clicking on that link and opening it. But yeah, it's tricky to redirect parents on certain platforms for sure. Instagram being one of those platforms.
Jennifer, are you posting links, or you're not posting the whole blogs on social media? I'm just asking, because typically you would want to post a link, and then it's like Camille said, in Instagram, you can't really, you have to say link in bio, and they have to go back to your bio and find the link and get there. So it is really tough with Instagram. But with like Facebook or any other, any other platform, really, Twitter, LinkedIn, you can post the link directly to your blog on your website. And so, it's important to really think about what is the little blurb that you put on their social media that's going to, encourage people to, or kind of draw them in to say, oh, this looks like a blog worth reading. And you have to kind of, there's so much, we get inundated with so much, right? And so it is hard to set yourself apart.
Christy, do you have a good recommendation for an article along the lines of social media marketing for dummies? I find all of the social media stuff overwhelming. We have a couple actually on our Nido Marketing blog that are specific to social media marketing. If you check out our website, we have loads for Instagram for Montessori, Facebook for Montessori, all kinds of stuff for Montessori marketing. As of online, I'm sure there's just loads. The thing is, social media marketing is always changing. The platforms are always changing. I mean, we've noticed Twitter is now X, which doesn't make a lot of sense, even though it's the same platform. Instagram has changed immensely. There's so many more ads than there were before. Like about 2 years ago, you would see mostly pictures of the people that you're following, your family, the accounts that you're actually following. Nowadays on Instagram, you're seeing a lot more advertisements. So people are changing the way that they interact with these apps. So I recommend, if you want to have a good experience with social media, just to always be checking the pulse. If you have people that are, young on your team who are very engaged with social media, see how they can help build kind of like a little a mini marketing team within your school community. Of course, you can always make sure you approve the posts, but these people are usually on the pulse. They're active on Instagram, on TikTok, all of these platforms that are popular. So definitely see if you can outsource some of that expertise, I would say, because it's always changing. And realistically, as school leaders, we have so much on our plate dealing with parents, staffing. We want to make sure everyone's happy all the time. Usually social media trends just does not even come under our radar. But yeah, I recommend checking out our blog. We have plenty of stuff on social media. Also, if you're a Montessori Thrive member, we have a whole course on Instagram for Montessori schools, Facebook for Montessori schools. So hopefully that helps if you're on Montessori Thrive.
And I think we're going to do a town hall sometime in the next
next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, next week's town hall is going to be Instagram for Montessori school. So if that's an area, it's going to just focus specifically on Instagram, because that seems to be the platform that's growing the quickest amongst young parents. So if you're interested in that, you can join next week's town hall or watch the recording.
It's also the one that, like you mentioned, is kind of change. It's kind of evolving, and how the best practices for how to best engage people on it is kind of a moving target. So we're just going to give a snapshot of what seems to be working now.
Absolutely.
6 months from now, we'll probably have a totally different approach. So.
We have regular town halls about social media because they're always changing things and people are shifting from one platform to the other. So yeah, next week we'll focus on Instagram. So if that's something that you're looking to grow, hopefully we'll see you back next week. Content marketing, of course, this ties into social media marketing, but it's much bigger. in the Montessori space, we think that content marketing is just so effective. And the reason why is because we don't come across as salesy people. We are not a buy one, get one free type of marketing crowd. We're not trying to get people to buy a product. We're trying to provide a valuable service to families and children to build a strong educational future for them. And this is why content marketing is so effective, because it really educates these prospective parents and provides immediate value and builds trust. That's what works best in the Montessori space. So by focusing on great content, whether that's writing blogs, having great imagery on your website and your ads, all of this is going to be so effective in your marketing strategy. So you want to make sure you're dedicating that time and energy to it, because it's really important. Your website content is going to be probably your first priority. Again, we discussed how important your school website is. You want to make sure it has plenty of content, content that will inform families on the unique benefits of Montessori and the unique benefits of your specific Montessori school. Whether, and that goes back to your unique selling points. Producing great content such as parenting videos, blogs, even podcasts. You don't have to produce everything, but just have something that parents can come to your website and learn about Montessori in an easy and accessible way. And this is ultimately going to set your school apart from others. So, ask yourself the question, would you pick the school that has great parenting blogs on their website? You can tell they're already providing value to their community by educating parents, providing that support. They have loads of resources. Or are you going to opt for the school that has just a very basic website with a couple of images and just some basic program information? I think you're going to pick the school that just has loads of resources and content that you feel like you've gotten to know a little bit more just by visiting that website. We also recognize that content is timely to produce. It takes time to write those blogs. If you're going to be producing your own content, you want to make sure you can create a realistic schedule, whether that's writing one blog a week, maybe one blog a month. The key is to remain consistent with the content you're coming out with. What you don't want to do is write one blog that's great and then not write another one for 6 months and then post another one, because that looks, a little bit unprofessional, and it's just not providing consistent value to your current families and prospective families. Any questions?
Also, yeah, I was just going to add too, Camilla, that, to get the most mileage out of any blog that you write. So you might post the blog on your website, but then you're going to post about it on all your socials. You're going to email your email list about it. You might want to make a quick little video about what you did the work to write the blog. It's probably not a whole lot more work to just do a quick video about what that blog was about that you can post on social. So you kind of want to reuse this. And now and I don't really want to get into this too much. We just Camilla just wrote a great blog article for our website about this, but with AI and search, content is still super important, because the search engines and everything are getting more and more sophisticated in how they are trying to connect people who are looking for information and connecting them with answers to their questions. So there's not really a way to short circuit this. You really have to just really provide that true value on your website.
Absolutely. And another note on creating content is you want to make sure you're providing value to these families, because oftentimes, and in a way that's digestible to them, because we speak Montessori lingo every day. So we know grace and courtesy. We know what we mean by planes of development. But a parent who's visiting your website for the first time may not know. So if you're using this type of terminology, you want to do it in a way that's approachable and that explains it. So again, write these blogs in a way that any parent who's coming into Montessori for the first time can learn and get value and understand your messaging. All of that is beneficial. So yeah, you want to have those well-written articles. And again, as Camille mentioned, these search engines are so, they're becoming smarter and smarter, and they build trust with your website and your content when you post that regularly. So refresh your website because it will have many benefits. Email marketing. Email marketing is really effective because it's personal. And a parent can always remove themselves from your mailing list if they're really not interested. So don't feel like you're bombarding parents. This is a huge topic of conversation. We've had town halls about this. You're not bothering parents by sending them email marketing. You don't want to be sending them email marketing every day or maybe even every week, but you can send your email list your monthly newsletter. You can send your email list a short email nurture to remind them to maybe schedule a tour or submit their application. So there are ways to do email marketing in a way that's personal and effective. A great thing to do is use automations in a CRM. This means that you don't have to enter all of your email marketing in manually. This is a huge time saver. Using email nurtures. If you sit down and write email nurtures once, you can use them over and over again and maybe update them from time to time if needed. We have loads of email nurture templates on Montessori Thrive. So if you're a Montessori Thrive member and you want to send an email nurture for someone who just scheduled a tour or for someone who maybe filled out an inquiry form, we have templates that you can send out. It's also just a great way to follow up and check in with families. Oftentimes they're touring more than one school. They're seeing what's available in their area. It might be a long process for some parents. Some parents start looking at schools when their child is 1, even though they don't want to start them until primary. So it's a great way to check in and stay top of mind and continue to provide value and knowledge to those parents about Montessori and your programs. And it's great to focus on building your email list. You can do this by having those lead generators on your school website, by having automated tour scheduling on your website, because again, you're collecting those email addresses, by having an inquiry form. This is a great way to collect that information. Any questions? Another area is visual branding. This is an important element of your marketing strategy as well. Most schools who are already established will have great branding already. Every now and then, some schools will reach out to us for branding or maybe a rebrand if you're opting for one. But you really want to make sure that your branding speaks to your target audience. Here's just some examples of a school that we worked with recently, and this is the branding that we've done for them. But it's worth investing in brand design, and you want to make sure you're using your school colors and branding assets throughout your marketing. So if you have an Instagram account, if you're doing graphic posts, use your school colors. It just looks so much more professional. There's so many examples of this that I see on Instagram that schools are doing well. And it's always great to see when I go on a school website and they're using their school colors throughout their videos or graphics. It looks so much more cohesive and you can really recall that school brand so much easier. Again, it makes your school look more professional and it just creates consistency with your target audience. They become to recognize your brand and resonate with it, hopefully. Open houses and events, really, it's when we get people through the door that we start to sell Montessori, because this is when people are able to see firsthand our classrooms. They're able to hear from us what the experience is like, and that's usually what is going to ultimately lead to an enrollment. So it's important to focus on how you can improve your open houses and events, and how you can adjust, to new values. What are parents needing? Take temperature of what is helping parents nowadays. Maybe now there's a need for flexibility because most families are 2 parents working rather than 1. It's necessary to have both parents working. So being flexible, offering value to parents. Some things that you can encourage, you can do to encourage families to come to these events is offer value, things like an application discount for those who attend our open house, or you can offer free parenting resources. Maybe you can offer a little parenting pamphlet for free for parents who visit, just offering some value to get people through the door. You can encourage your current families to spread the word. You can have staff members attend and answer questions to those families. provide snacks and beverages. I'm sure most schools already do this, but it's important to just take the time to see how you can improve your open houses year upon year. How can you be more accessible to these families? How can you be of service to them? Tours are also huge. Again, we sell Montessori when we get people through the door. So it's important to always be seeing how you can be improving your tours and providing more value. Because again, most of the time parents will tour more than just one school, and they're going to go with the school that wows them the most and that really speaks to them during that tour. Again, a great tour can result in an application or enrollment. Things like automated tour scheduling already are just so great because they make accessing your tours so much more accessible to parents who are busy. This means they can go on your website at any time. Doesn't have to be when your school's open. They can do it at 10 p.m. from their bed before they go to bed for the night. They can say, oh, I'm going to schedule a tour actually, and they can do it automatically on their phone. Following up with families pre and post tour, things like SMS messaging, just, oh, a reminder, you have a tour tomorrow. Are you still coming? Yes or no, let us know. Or would you need to reschedule? All of these things are, I think now, just best practice to have these types of things in place. Providing resources on your tour as well. Oftentimes, we have great parents who know about Montessori from when they walk through the door. Other times we have parents who are completely new to Montessori, or they may think, oh, isn't Montessori just like Waldorf, or isn't Montessori just like when they can just walk around the classroom and do whatever they want? And they don't know what to look for in the classroom space and the environment. You can give them a tour observation checklist. These types of resources can really guide the tour so much better. We have all sorts of resources like this on Montessori Thrive for those of you who are members with us. But providing those resources are really helpful. Things like information packets, a list of blogs, one-pagers. We have a whole series of Montessori answered one-pagers, which are frequently asked questions. So it's that parent who, yes, you can answer the question on the spot, but maybe they're the extra curious parent and you can give them a whole page to say, this will really break it down into detail, everything that you need to know about that one specific question. Again, that impresses and adds value to the tour. So all of these things are valuable. Any other tips or things that you've implemented in your own school tours that have really wowed parents? It's always great to hear what you guys are doing. Do you know any schools that have great word of mouth campaign, ways to encourage families to talk to us? I think we've had a couple of schools who've said they offer incentives to parents, whether that's like a discount for every parent that they pretty much bring to the school that then enrolls. Things like that will result in pretty good word of mouth campaigns.
Like a referral.
Yeah. Monica, I always ask what they're looking for. That's a great way to, a great thing to include in the tour. Renee, having a teacher as part of the tour, yes. Someone who's there in the classroom day to day is great.
Yeah.
All of these are great points here in the chat. Or a meeting after the tour. I schedule a call first. That's great. You can really prepare yourself for the tour. Carol, we give the children a little drawstring bag with little marshmallows and toothpicks so they can engineer a design. The tag has our logo and a saying for each letter of our school. That's great. I'm assuming this is for tours with children and that they have a little keepsake from that tour. Again, TEC, you mentioned you do a lot of science and technology. That's a unique selling point. So that ties in well with your brand. So that's great. It's always great to see what innovative ways you can make your tour just a little bit more memorable for families, if it's just a parent tour or even the child as well. Great. Testimonials and referrals. We just had a question on this.
Ben had a point here, emphasizing the exit point opportunities the school supports, placement programs, alumni profiles. So, yeah, so that's important too. So they know, a big question parents have is, well, looks great, but how will my child do once they get into, high school or whatever. And so I think it's really good to address those points too on the tour. So that's a great point.
Absolutely. So yeah, testimonials and referrals, social proof is really powerful in Montessori because ultimately that's what parents want to know. Were other people successful when they signed up for these programs? It's important to include a variety of testimonials throughout your marketing material and on your website. This is what's going to give parents an insight as to what other people experienced in your community. Consider using a referral program. Again, offer incentives to families to bring in new people. That's great. And also have incentives for collecting those reviews and testimonials, whether they're Google reviews or just testimonials you want to include on your website. I don't think schools do Google reviews now. There's different platforms, right, Camille? I forget what they are.
Yeah, Niche or Great Schools. Yeah, Google doesn't allow reviews for schools anymore. So we kind of have to look for other ways, Facebook, but those are the places to, what your Google business profile will do is it'll go find those reviews on Facebook and Niche and those other platforms and consolidate them and put them in your Google, show them through your Google business profile, but you can't actually anymore submit reviews. I don't know if that's completely across the board, but I know that that's something that they've been kind of rolling out over the past year or so.
There's definitely benefits to it as well, because it gives you a little bit of control as to, what kind of testimonials are being shared. And hopefully you can collect a variety of positive ones that really reflect what you're doing at your school. So I know some schools will offer gift cards or something like that to like a raffle of some sort to parents who send in a review or something like that. Again, parents are so busy nowadays that sometimes you have to offer these incentives if you want to get a lot of quality testimonials. Also, doing things like video testimonials are really powerful, and alumni testimonials are great as well, especially if you have programs that are elementary, middle school, or adolescent programs. Those alumni testimonials are going to be really important.
I was just going to say, a lot of times it's just something parents don't really think about doing. So it's just asking, just maybe just say, have a little reminder somehow to set every couple of weeks, who can I ask this week for a testimonial? And then just, a personal email, hey, it would really help us out. Would you mind replying to this email with, your thoughts about our program or whatever it is. But a lot of times it's not on their radar to even do that. So just asking, is a good start.
A couple meetings ago, our Nido Marketing's co-founder, Kasim, was on, and he said a great way to just get testimonials is to have, go up to a parent who is thriving in your community, who's happy, and just go up to them and say, you really are making the most of being in our community. And I would love to just collect your experience to share our school story and have it on our website. If you could write a short testimonial, it would be great. So yeah, just going in there and asking one-on-one, because usually then parents, when they have that personal ask, they're going to be more willing to hand over a good testimonial. And again, another thing you can do is invite the general public to certain school events. Open up your parenting courses, whether you're offering them virtually or in person, to a local community. Be like, hey, mommy groups or local parents, if you have a child in the aged 3 to 6 and you need some parenting advice, we're offering a parenting course. And that's a great way to offer value. It's very high value for them and low risk. They're not having to sign up for your school, but it gives them a little introduction of Montessori, and maybe they'll be swayed to sign up for your programs. So these things are, things to consider if you're really looking to grow your enrollment or fill a certain program. I'd love to know, also drop in the chat if you have any methods for gathering testimonials or referrals. Oh. Another thing to just, stay on top of your competition is to analyze what other schools in your local area are doing. I don't ever recommend, stealing things or copying, but it's always great to see what they're doing, how are they, how is their website looking? What kind of content are they sharing? Are they active on social media? What are they offering parents, whether it's during a tour or during an open house? And see, you can get some inspiration, or you can see, we're doing this so much better. So maybe we should just focus more attention on this thing that we're doing really great that other schools aren't able to do. And that's going to help us attract the right parents. So it's always good to see what your competition is up to and how you can continue to improve and stand out. Usually we know what schools that we're in competition with. So it's good to keep an eye out. Measuring success. This is the next phase. So once you have a great marketing plan and you've invested time in creating content, maybe investing in ads, building a great website, you want to make sure all of those marketing efforts are actually paying off and getting you enrollments. You want to make sure to be evaluating areas of growth. What efforts are really paying off in enrollment? Are you getting lots of tours scheduled through automated touring? Are people engaging with your blogs? Is that drawing more people to your website? You can see these kinds of analytics. How many calls are you receiving to the school interested in learning more, asking a question? You can always ask, how did you find out about our school? Where did you learn about us? You can gather that information. Definitely take the time to celebrate achievements and set new benchmarks. So, once you've started a wait list, your next goal is, okay, maybe it's time to expand and have another primary classroom and then fill that one up too. And again, you can assess those areas that need growth. What could be improved? Could your website be better? Do you need to publish more content? Do you need to start investing in Google Ads? Do you need to be improving your school tours so that people end up enrolling after? You can always ask after tours as well, what can we do better? Or what did rate our tours anonymously, so you can get some feedback that way. We have resources to help you. So for those of you who are either our clients or just Montessori Thrive members, we have loads of resources. We have our resource exchange, which is huge now. There's so many resources on there, from white papers to email templates to parenting resources as well. We have these weekly town halls. They're always free to join. And our YouTube channel, which has loads of videos on Montessori marketing, as well as all of our town hall recordings. So if you ever missed a past town hall that we've had in the last 3 years, it'll be on there. And we also have a Facebook community group called Montessori Thrive. So if you ever had any leadership questions, you can ask that, or you can ask on our private school leadership forum. Also, we've got loads of services on here at Nido Marketing, things like content services. So we write weekly blogs for Montessori schools, do social posting for them. We run Google ads, Facebook ads, social ads. We also build school websites, all of that. So if you want to learn more about that, go to nidomarketing.com. I'd love to discuss a little bit more, how you've been able to grow your admissions, what's worked for your community, what you feel isn't working, what areas you want to grow more, if I missed anything, what do you need help with, whether it's resources or just want to ask other school leaders. We'll go ahead and open it up to discuss.
Do you find this helpful or exhausting, overwhelming?
It's only like the start of the school year, isn't it, for many people who started this week post Labor Day? Hopefully it's off to a good start. I
think it's important to just maybe, like, I know we just gave this big overview of like all these different things you can do, and it can be very overwhelming. But maybe just like pick one area to say, like, I think I can do this, and just bite off a little bit and see if you can make progress in that, because we know that this is not, the main driver, the main purpose of your position and everything, but it is really important to keep that admissions, those leads coming in, so that you can keep your enrollment up.
Absolutely.
Or do you want me to ask it through the chat?
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Christy Yang with Full Circle Montessori School. And I was just curious. So, I think we have a pretty good website. And this past year, or last year, we were focusing more on getting like our Instagram a little bit more robust and kind of with the times. Definitely not by my drive, but by someone younger who knows what the heck they're doing. So one of the goals I set for us this year was, okay, we're at about 700 followers, and trying to boost that to about 1,000. And is that something that like should be a goal of ours, or is that just kind of like, what's the point of putting a focus on that? Because it's not like people are like, oh, I found you on Instagram and, I want to talk to you. Although I do know prospective parents have looked at our Instagram site and said, oh, I saw that there and I thought that looked pretty cool. So I can see like them referring to it, but how much emphasis should we be putting on increasing the amount of followers?
I think, that's usually the first thing that people look at on Instagram is how many followers you have. I think 700 is a good number to be at because that's enough to say, oh, wow, they have a big community. I think the focus should be less on the number of following and especially the number of likes. This has been a huge concern because, and I'll really dive deeper into this at next week's meeting on Instagram, but people are noticing a huge drop in likes and that's kind of stunted them. They're like, oh my gosh, why is no one engaging with our content? A couple months ago, I had 30 likes and now I'm getting 10 maybe. This is because Instagram has changed things and added a bunch of ads on people's feeds. I think what's important is having really good content that drives people to learn more about you. You should always have your website on your bio so people can click on your website, and you should be sharing content that's engaging, because what parents are going to do on your Instagram is they're going to do a little stalk. They're going to say, oh, I'm curious, like what's their social media presence? Nowadays, people go on Instagram every time they pick out a restaurant, every time they pick out whatever. So a school is no different. If you have content that makes them go, these classrooms are beautiful. Oh, wow, the children are really engaged in the learning. They're offering great parenting tips, or they're creating great blog content. This is helpful. They clearly are investing a lot of time and energy into creating a community that's supportive for the children and parents. I think that should be really the main focus of social media, because parents they might not find you through social media, but they're definitely going to give you a little stalk. And that might not be reflected in your following or even your likes. So just mainly prioritize posting beautiful imagery and actual content, I would say.
And for you, Christy, with your parenting classes that you offer, I think it's great to think about trying to drive up that number of followers too, because you're not only looking for enrollment for your school, but you're looking for parents as sort of the gate into your school, right? To enroll in those parenting classes. So, that is one metric that you can kind of look at too, the number of followers. Yeah.
Absolutely. Any other questions on growing your enrollment? I'm looking forward to our Instagram. There has been a lot of growing interest, and I'm not surprised because we had a meeting a while back saying how important Instagram is going to become to parents. I think it's a shift away from Facebook that has ruled for so long.
Oh yeah, regarding that, so when you guys were all talking about demographics, with Facebook, is that demographic sort of now coming too old to be the clients that are like avatar, if you will, or is it Instagram and TikTok? Oh my God, I don't even want to think about TikTok. It's a place to also look into, but
I think realistically, yes, people are starting to, at least most parent demographics are starting to age out of Facebook. I do think it's still important to be posting on Facebook. It's just important to have all platforms covered. And the great thing about Facebook is you can link your website over and over again. You can link a blog. You can't do that as easily on Instagram. You can do it on Instagram, but only through a story, which is a little bit annoying. We've talked about TikTok at previous town halls as well. TikTok, I would say if you have the time and energy for it, great. Realistically, the type of content that people, I don't know, there's all kinds of audiences on TikTok, but I think probably the most popular platform will be Instagram. So, and that one I think people are comfortable with a little bit more than TikTok.
The other thing to do, Christy, is just kind of take an informal survey of your parents who are at your school now and saying, you know, are you on socials? Which is your favorite? Like, what do you look at the most? And just to kind of give a general sense of, because I know I'm too old to know what the answer to that is anymore. And I'm not into school, so I don't have, you know, like you have you potentially have your finger on the pulse of what your current parents are doing.
Maybe if your school has an adolescent program, those parents would be older, and maybe that group of parent might be much more engaged in Facebook. So it really depends on your community. Yeah, I think a survey is a great way to get some insights as to what's more popular.
And Facebook still has those community like groups and things like that that I think can still be worthwhile.
Yeah.
So. Well, we're almost exactly up to the hour here. So great job, Camilla, getting everything timed perfectly.
Before we wrap up, I just wanted to point out, I already pointed out these resources, that we have our Montessori Thrive parenting series happening next month. We just opened up the registration page. So if you're a Montessori Thrive member school, this virtual parenting series will be free for all of your families to sign up for. We'll be meeting on Zoom every Wednesday night throughout the month of October. We have a variety of different parenting topics, from positive discipline to the prepared adult. All of our speakers are Montessorians, and they're going to be basically just teaching a little presentation and answering parent questions. We look forward to that series. If you have any questions about it, you can email me. I'll drop my email in the chat just in case. But I am the organizer, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have on our parenting series.
And you can send this, if you're a Thrive member, to prospective parents as well. So it's just like a nice way to connect with, and it's no effort really on your part other than maybe sending an email to your prospective parents and say, hey, you know, you might be interested in this, because they will get a link just directly to sign up via Zoom. So it doesn't have to go through Thrive. So current parents and prospective parents, I think this is like a great resource, and maybe a way to kind of gauge how interested are they in, you know, are they interested enough to go to a parenting call, you know, learn a little bit more about Montessori parenting. So
absolutely. So we look forward to
one question here. With regard to the parenting series, we have basically tried sending information to our parents last couple of years, but somehow we really have a hard time getting them to participate much. I'm not sure if there is anything else we can do other than sending an email about the series and hoping that they will attend, but it has been a disappointing participation.
I know it's always tough to get people to actually show up to parenting events. Sometimes not all of our parents are going to be equally as engaged with this type of stuff. It's a real shame as well, because it's just free value to those parents. I would say post about it on social media. We created the social media posts for it, so schools can download it and just post it on their Instagrams or Facebooks. And you just maybe reminding them, maybe at carpool or something. Oh, tonight, by the way, we have our parenting webinar. It's at this time and this time, it's free to join. And also just handing out the, at the end of the series, we create a flyer of all of the recordings. So those parents who can't attend the lives, they can always hopefully tap in and watch it on their own time, or see the topic that they're the most interested with. But yeah, realistically, I don't think any school will have 100% attendance. I'd be very impressed if that were the case. But realistically, you know, it's tough to get parents to participate when they're so busy and so overwhelmed.
Yeah,
we have had only like 3 or 4 parents joining, at least in one of the years, and I would have expected a lot more, because it's such a valuable, you know, session and content.
Absolutely. I'd say, yeah, reminding parents at carpool is huge. Sending it out in your email newsletter, posting about it on social media, and just trying to, because not every parent is going to see every reminder or every post.
Yes.
So yeah.
so if you talk it up, then, you know, more parents might engage. But it's like anything else. I mean, it's hard to get parents to probably come to your regular parent eds and meetings and things sometimes. So
Is there a little blurb you guys have that we could kind of attach in our newsletter, weekly newsletter, that you can just take it from your blurb and just put it in there? Do you have something like that for the upcoming one?
On our flyer, it has a blurb at the beginning that you can feel free to use that blurb. If you download the virtual flyer, it kind of gives a little bit of an introduction to what the series is, and then it goes into detail about every speaker and the topic, what the parents will learn from the session. So hopefully that'll maybe inspire them to come.
Yeah, I mean, you can just attach that PDF to an email if you want, and it has all the information, including the links for the parents to sign up.
The email, yes, but what about putting it in a newsletter? Like I don't want like a 2 or 3 page write-up, but just like a half a page blurb.
Yeah, we have a paragraph introduction of the series on that PDF. So if you want to open up the PDF, you can use that to lead parents into it on your newsletter.
Have you sent that out yet to us or no? I don't remember if you have sent the parenting series flyer out already to us.
Yes, yeah, you should have I sent it out in my email yesterday in our Thrive email, and it's also on Montessori Thrive.
Okay.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing all your parents there, and we look forward to seeing you next week as well. We'll be talking about Instagram for Montessori School, so I'll be sharing what kind of content you'll be posting on Instagram, how to engage with parents, how to make sure your content is more visible to prospective and current families, etc. So look forward to seeing you there next week. I'll go ahead and stop sharing, but it was wonderful having this meeting. It's a great start to the new school year. I hope everyone has a great Friday tomorrow. And yeah, look forward to next week.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone. Have a good rest of your day.